A good Monday to you from Klein Field at Sunken Diamond for a midweek matinee non-conference style between the Stanford Cardinal and the Arizona Wildcats on a gorgeous, cloudless day, sun-splashed here on the farm. Could not ask for better playing conditions. Now that the eclipse is past the point of totality, you can turn your attention to the only game in college baseball happening today, and it's right here on the farm. Stanford hosting Arizona, the Cardinal at 13-16 on the season, while Arizona 17-13 on the year. It's great to have you with us. Troy Clarity flying the ship solo here for this one. Arizona comes into this non-conference slate, this non-conference matchup rather, on the heels of a 7-game winning streak. They swept the Bears over in Berkeley and figured they'd get one more game here in the Bay Area before heading on to Tucson. We'll talk more about that and how this game on the calendar in particular came to be as the show goes along. So Arizona flying high, 7-game win streak. They hit the ball very well. They've done terrific in pitching categories so far this season as well. Stanford in better shape now than they were this time last week, as they were able to take 2 out of 3 against the Washington State Cougars. Did drop the series finale yesterday in extra innings, had a chance to win it outright, but an error in the top of the 9th inning led to the tying run for the Cougs, who ended up winning 9-7 in 11 innings. Starting pitching on point throughout much of the series. The hitting got better. Bullpen struggled a little bit, especially in that series finale. So Stanford trying to get back into the win column today against the Arizona Wildcats. Should be an intriguing one, and even though it doesn't count in the Pac-12 standings, these two teams will meet down in Tucson the first weekend in May. It's a chance to compete. All these games always mean something, especially these midweek games. Chances for some young guys to get some opportunities. And one name in particular that we're going to talk about for the Arizona Wildcats, who's getting a big chance for today, in front of some familiar people as well. Let's get you the starting batting lineup for the Arizona Wildcats. They bat .281 as a team. That's 5th in the Pac-12 coming into today's business. They're led off by Richie Morales. Mason White's their big bat. He bats 2nd. Garen Caulfield is their designated hitter. He's in the 3 spot. Brendan Summerhill batting 4th. Emilio Corona in the 5 spot. Tommy Splain is batting 6th. Xavier Esker is batting 7th. More on him as we go. Blake McDonald batting 8th, and TJ Adams rounds out the Wildcat batting order. Head coach of the Arizona Wildcats in his 3rd year at Tucson is Chip Hale. Stanford is taking the field, wearing their black tops and the white pants. In the outfield from left to right for the Cardinal, it's Court McDonald, Ethan Hott, and Luke Lavin. Around the horn, Timo Becerra at 3rd, Trevor Haskins at short, Owen Cobb at 2nd, Jimmy Nadai at 1st, Charlie Som getting the look behind the dish today as Malcolm Moore is in the lineup. He's DHing, but they're giving him the day off behind the plate today, so it's Som as the catcher. And the starting pitcher for Stanford today is Ryan Speciak, a freshman from Goleta, California. Speciak about to make his first start of his career and is a 9th appearance this year. No wins or losses, does have an ERA of 10.32. 11 in the 3rd innings pitched, 10 hits, 13 runs, all earned, 11 walks, 11 strikeouts. Opposing batters hitting .233 against Speciak, who has hit 6 batters so far this season. The head coach, the Clark and Elizabeth Nelson Director of Baseball at Stanford, is David Esker. Gorgeous afternoon. It was kind of chilly, obviously, throughout much of the series against the Washington State Cougars. Mixed clouds throughout. Not a cloud in the sky here today. Perfect eclipse viewing if you were into that sort of thing, as totality passed about maybe 50 minutes ago or so. So hope you enjoyed that. And hope you enjoy this on a sunny 64-degree afternoon with a slight breeze that's blowing. Appears to be out to center. Gorgeous playing conditions here in Palo Alto. And it is a little strange to see Stanford and Arizona meeting midweek in a non-conference game. Normally these kinds of games are or reserved for Cal. Normally they get a non-conference game or two in during the midweek during the course of a season, but here we go. Arizona and Stanford about to meet in non-conference play. By the way, Arizona is tied for second in the Pac-12 standings after their sweep over the Bears. Stanford began in 8th place at the beginning of the weekend in Pac-12 play, but they've since moved up to 6th as a result of taking 2 out of 3 against Washington State. If Stanford had won that game yesterday, they would have ended up tied for 5th along with Utah, but alas, not to be. Speciak on the mound, and Richie Morales leading off for the Wildcats. Morales, a junior from Bradenton, Florida. He transferred from the State College of Florida. Morales slashing .311, .395, .396. No home runs, and 18 RBI. Morales tied for the Wildcats team lead in doubles with 9. Speciak rocks and deals, fires a fastball, high and outside, away we go. Cats, Card. Enjoy the game, everybody. First pitch, 12:06. A minute behind. Sorry about that. The 1-0. Popped up foul and landing in about the 4th row, right behind home plate. Easy grab for a fan who shovels it over to a young fan over in the next section over. So the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Speciak deals chest high and he fouls it off. Morales now down in the count 1-2. Speciak's last outing was at Texas Tech a week ago today. Through 2 innings, 3 hits, 5 runs, all earned, walked 2, struck out 2. Did not factor in the decision. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Speciak, and this one is lined to a diving Jimmy Natai at first. So Natai able to dive, make the catch about eye high on his way to ground, and 1 gone. Here's Mason White. White, a sophomore from Tucson, Arizona. And he has been the most productive of the Wildcat bats so far this season. A .303 batting average, slugging .406. Or check that on-base percentage of .406. He's slugging .630. And he swings and misses at the 91-mile-an-hour fastball to begin this at-bat. Strike 1. White is the Wildcats' team leader outright in home runs with 11. RBI with 39, and total bases with 75. Takes a changeup on the outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. He's also walked a team-high 21 times, tied for the team lead with 27 runs scored, but he's also struck out 46 times. Far and away the leader of sorts, if you want to call it that, in that category. As White fouls it back to the screen, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Beautiful day here at Sunken Diamond. 335 down the lines, 375 to the alleys, 400 to straightaway center. Outfield fences are 8 feet high, with the batter's eye hovering beyond center field. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch from Speciak fouled off again. Count remains at 1-2. Arizona swept the Bears in Berkeley over the weekend. Beat Cal in 10 innings in the series opener, 5-3, then 5-0, and then 7-3 results in Berkeley. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's high. 2-2 off the 93-mile-an-hour fastball by Speciak. Wildcats sweeping the Bears this past weekend and sweeping UCLA the weekend before that. Speciak deals again, tries a curve outside. The count goes full, 3-2. Those 2 series sweeps sandwiching a win over New Mexico for the Wildcats on Tuesday. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mason White. The payoff pitch on the way. Swing and a miss on the curveball outside. Got him. So the 47th strikeout for Mason White this season as he heads back to the Wildcat dugout. Here's Garen Caulfield, a junior from Sacramento, transferred from Delta College. Caulfield leads the Wildcats with a .356 batting average and a .446 on-base percentage. Also slugging .517, 3 home runs, 26 RBI. Fastball inside. Caulfield kind of had to twist to get out of the way of it. It's ball 1. Caulfield the DH for today for Arizona. 1 ball, no strikes, inside again on an off-speeder. Count to 2-0. Wildcats hit .281 as a team coming into the day. That's 5th in the Pac-12. Again, this is not a Pac-12 game. That counts in the standings anyway. 2 balls, no strikes. Popped him up. Going back, Haskins and Cobb called off, and Haskins makes the catch in shallow left center field and retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. Arizona 0, and Stanford coming to bat. Here is the Cardinal batting order for you. It's Owen Cobb, who mashed the Washington State Cougars yesterday. Cobb leading off. Court McDonald batting second. Malcolm Moore not catching today, but he is the DH, and he is batting third. Jimmy Nadai in the cleanup spot. Luke Lavin in the 5 spot. Charlie Som bats 6th. Timo Becerra batting 7th. Trevor Haskins in the 8 spot. And Ethan Hott rounding out the Stanford batting order. 3 lefties for Stanford: McDonald, Moore, and Lavin. Defensively for the Wildcats, as they have taken the field and the outfield from left to right, it's TJ Adams, Brendan Summerhill, and Emilio Corona. Around the horn, Richie Morales at third, Mason White at short, Xavier Esker at second, Tommy Splain at first, and Blake McDonald behind the dish. And on the mound for the Wildcats is Josh Morano. He's a Bay Area kid, a freshman from Livermore, Granada High School, as a matter of fact. Morano about to make his 4th appearance and his 2nd start of the year. No wins or losses, an ERA of 0. Has thrown just 4 innings so far this season, giving up 4 hits with 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. So not a lot of experience for Morano to this point. And consequently, maybe not a whole lot of tape and not a whole lot of scout to watch for Stanford to try to get a beat on Morano. But Morano getting the start for the Arizona Wildcats here today. Wildcats 2nd in the Pac-12 in team ERA at 4.02, 2nd in the Pac-12 in WHIP, that's walks plus hits per innings pitched, at 1.36, and they actually lead the Pac-12 in strikeout to walk ratio, 3.55 strikeouts for every 1 walk. So pitching has been on point, one of the better staffs in the conference to this point. Here's Owen Cobb. And Washington State was saying and every time Cobb came up to the plate throughout much of the series against Washington State. Cobb batting .284, 6 home runs, 21 RBI. First pitch gets the outside corner call for strike 1. Cobb leading Stanford in at-bats, triples, RBI, total bases, and slugging percentage. As this pitch is high and outside, a breaking ball makes it 1-1. Cobb with 2 home runs against Washington State. Golfed one out of here to left field on Saturday, and then hit a big 2-run shot yesterday. Swing and a miss on the off-speeder. The count goes to 1-2 on Cobb. So Cobb with 6 home runs this season, matching what had been his career high last season as he hit 6 home runs. He didn't have any home runs in his Stanford career entering last year. 1-2. And this one off the fist, going back. It's Esker, and he makes the running grab in shallow center field with his back to home plate. So Esker, who knows this building relatively well, makes the grab and sets up Court McDonald. McDonald a sophomore from Arlington, Texas. And he's batting a team-high .333 with 3 home runs and 18 RBI. Also an on-base percentage of .395, slugging percentage of .450. And you can add to his batting average here as he goes opposite field and sends that one into left. Base hit. Court McDonald off the first pitch he sees this afternoon. McDonald, who began the season with a 10-game hit streak, is on board for Malcolm Moore, the designated hitter for today. Moore, a sophomore from Sacramento, slashing .225, .403, .500. Leads Stanford with 8 home runs. Has also driven in 19 so far this season. The lefty Morano tries a curve to start and misses perhaps a bit low for ball 1. One ball and no strikes, with McDonald making a fake or two towards second base. And that pitch going low and outside makes it 2-0 to Moore. Morano's last appearance was last Tuesday against New Mexico. He threw 2 scoreless. Against New Mexico, gets that one to go over, called strike 1. Did give up a double among 2 hits, walked 1 in 35 pitches of work. That was it. The 2-1 from Morano, fouled off, heading towards the batting cages and pavilion, over off towards the left field corner of Sunken Diamond. Moore stepping back in with McDonald at first. 2-2, the pitch. Inside, and that hit him. That plunks Malcolm Moore probably around the forearm or so, but a 70-mile-an-hour curveball. So Moore able to jog down to first base. And Morano loses Moore on a 2-strike count. That has to irritate pitchers a bit. Jimmy Nadai, the batter now for the Cardinal, sophomore from Sydney, Australia. Nadai batting .296 on the season with 2 home runs and 15 driven in. Slugging .461, on-base percentage of .371. First pitch to Nadai, swing and a miss. Foul tipped into Blake McDonald's glove for strike 1. Blake McDonald, the catcher. Court McDonald plays for Stanford. He's at second right now with Moore at first. Runners bluff, and actually McDonald's heading towards third. The throw got him. Blake McDonald gets Court McDonald. So Court caught stealing. And that means 2 out now for the Cardinal. And the count goes to 1-1. 2 outs. And that one is clapped down the third baseline, but foul. Umpires for today, Gary DeFabio behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. Greg Charles at first, Randy Sutton at second. And Scott Latender, we saw him for all 3 games in the Washington State series. He's at third. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jimmy Nadai. The pitch starts high, stays high, 2-2. Nadai with a home run on Saturday against Washington State that had a little bit of an assist from the Cougs center fielder Alex Shibley's glove. Went off of Shibley's glove, over the fence, bounced and recoiled off the batter's eye, and came back into the field to play. This was popped up, playable in foul ground. Tommy Splain has a beat on it and makes the catch in foul territory for the 3rd out of the inning. Scoreless after 1. Midweek matinee between the Cardinal and the Cats. Great to have you with us from Sunken Diamond, Arizona, and Stanford as we begin the 2nd inning. Brendan Summerhill, one of just two lefties for the Wildcats in their batting nine. Mason White was the other one. We saw him in the two spots. Summerhill, sophomore from Chicago. He's batting .342 on the season. .411 on base, .567 slugging. First pitch from Ryan Spechiak is fouled up and over the screen and behind us and off to our left for strike one. Spechiak setting down the first three batters that he faced in order in the first inning. No balls and one strike to Summerhill. Tries a curve, misses outside, 1-1. Summerhill has reached base in each of the last 24 straight games. And he actually had a 12-game hit streak snapped on Sunday against Cal. A 1-1, curve again, misses outside, 2-1. Summerhill reaching base, being very productive for the Wildcats all season long. The 2-1, fastball off the fist, fouled back. And 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Summerhill. As Ryan Spechiak, the freshman from Goleta, on the bump for the Cardinal and dealing the 2-2 pitch. Curve again. It's hit over Spechiak's head. Haskins charges and throws to first in time for the out. Boy, Haskins, I believe, was lined up right behind the second base bag, so that made it fairly easy for him to get to. His run maybe straight ahead. Maybe had to take a step to his left and veer off in that angle, but didn't really have to go far. Emilio Corona, the batter for the Wildcats. He's a senior, originally from San Luis Obispo, California. Neat spot. And he hits this one past a diving Haskins and into left field for a base hit. So Corona had been hitting .220 with 6 home runs and 19 RBI. That batting average will go up after that plate appearance now. First base hit of the day for the Wildcats. Brings up Tommy Splain, junior from Los Gatos, California. He went to Los Gatos High School. Splain slashing .278, .319, .426 as this one's popped foul. Splain with 3 home runs and 16 RBI. Corona, a perfect 7 of 7 in stolen bases, by the way. He does not lead the Wildcats in stolen base attempts as off he goes again as that ball is cranked foul. And the count on Splain is 0-2. Brendan Summerhill has actually tried 11 stolen bases, but has only been successful 6 times. So Corona, a perfect 7 of 7. So leading Arizona in stolen bases successfully swiped, and in percentage as well. No balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Splain. The pitch, fastball high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Spechiak came in relief at Washington on March the 10th. And threw an inning in the third against the Huskies. Gave up a couple runs that day. They were both earned. Walked a couple and struck out 1. Did not factor in the decision on March the 10th. A loss for Stanford. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch. Off the fist, foul back to the screen. Count stays at 2-2. Stanford had to go through its share of pitchers yesterday. Going extra innings certainly will not help matters that much in that regard. Spechiak looking at Corona at first and throws back over there. Stanford started yesterday with Joey Volchko, who went 3+. Trevor Moore went 2. Cassius Thomas came in, faced 3 batters, but didn't retire any of them. Then Torrin O'Haron and then Nick Dugan to close it out. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. The slider gets splayed. 2 away in the top of the second. Batter now for the Wildcats is Xavier Esker. Let's see if you can fill in some blanks here yourself as I give you his information. Esker is a freshman from Palo Alto, California. Went to Palo Alto High School, hitting 167 on the year. And the pitch with Corona on the move, swing and a miss. The throw to second, got him. So for the first time this season, Corona is thrown out trying to steal a base. We'll tell you more about Xavier Esker when the Wildcats come back to bat in the top of the third. I think you might have figured out what his connection is. Bottom second coming up in just a moment, scoreless between Stanford and Arizona. Bottom second, scoreless at Sunken Diamond. And we begin with Luke Lavin striding up to the plate. Lavin, a freshman from Laguna Beach. He's slashing .234, .393, .255 with no home runs and 5 RBI. Facing off against Josh Morano, a freshman from Livermore. First pitch, fastball, swing and a miss by Lavin for strike 1. Well, pretty rare for these two teams to be meeting midweek in a non-conference game. Off the fists, fouled up to just the netting above the Arizona dugout. Lavin's down quickly, 0-2. But of course, Arizona was in Berkeley, just across the bay, over the weekend. As Morano, the pitch, the 0-2, high and outside, 1-2, lefty on lefty. And apparently, originally, the plan was for Arizona to head up to Nevada and play a midweek game there. At some point, that didn't sound as good as maybe staying here in the Bay. Off the fists, a flare that drops in to shallow left for a base hit for Luke Lavin. Lavin didn't get a whole lot on that one, but didn't need a whole lot. Plops down in front of TJ Adams. Second hit of the afternoon so far for Stanford. Cardinal, by the way, came into this game batting .277 as a team. That's 7th in the Pac-12. And that brings up Charlie Som, the junior from Thousand Oaks. And the catcher for Stanford today cracks this one through the hole and into left field for a base hit. Som wasting no time. Som with his 10th base hit of the year. So he was batting .257 heading into that plate appearance. That'll go up. Timo Becerra, the batter. Becerra, .311 batting average. .364 on base. Slugging .349. No home runs and 9 RBI. Leads Stanford with 19 runs scored. Back-to-back singles for the Cardinal. Nobody out. Bottom second. As Becerra takes the first pitch in there, called strike 1. So apparently the plan was for Arizona to hop on the bus and head up to Reno for a midweek game up there. But somewhere along the way, Chip Hale and Arizona rethought things a little bit. Slider tails low and outside, 1-1. And so they called up David Esker, called up Stanford Baseball and said, hey, would you guys be willing to maybe play a Monday game after we're here in Berkeley? As this one is hit to center field, Summerhill ranging back and to his right, makes the grab in center field with Luke Lavin staying at second. So Stanford Baseball said, sure, why not? And Arizona glad to be busing over down to the South Bay instead of busing up to Reno to face the Nevada Wolfpack. And boom, that's how this game came about. Here's Trevor Haskins, a junior from San Jose. Haskins slashing 272, 316, 447. 2 home runs and 16 RBI. This one staying in the park, dropping down for a base hit. Lavin rounding third, heading for home, and scoring. Trevor Haskins drives in the first run of the game. Stanford's up 1-0. Well, Stanford has not really wasted a lot of time swinging the bat so far in this frame. Som singling on the first pitch that he saw. Haskins singling on the first pitch that he saw. And so Stanford with a 1-0 lead. Ethan Hott, the batter, sophomore from Paradise Valley, Arizona. Off the fist, fouled off, and will land uncontested and out of play. Paradise Valley is up Phoenix way. Not really up on my Phoenix geography that well. I think it's on the east side of the valley, out towards Scottsdale and that side of the Phoenix metro. Don't hold me to that, though. No balls and 1 strike. Off speed, misses outside, 1-1. So that's how this Monday game came about. Stanford heads down to Tucson first weekend in May. The 1-1. High, as McDonald had to get out of his crouch to catch that one. 2 balls and 1 strike. Chip Hale also wanted his squad to see this place, too, one more time. I don't blame him. That's a breaking ball that goes low and inside, and Hott is ahead in the count 3-1. Three balls and 1 strike. Runners going. That's inside, called strike 2. The throw down to third, and McDonald has got his second runner thrown out on the base paths today. And they've both tried to take third and have been unsuccessful. So Som retired. Haskins does head over to third. The count goes to 3-2. So Hott trying to extend the inning and turn the lineup over. Facing the 3-2, that's high. Ball 4. So the inning not over yet. And Owen Cobb will try to keep it going for Stanford. Cobb popped out to second. His first time up. And Chip Hale is up and out of the Arizona dugout, heading to the mound, and he's bringing a new pitcher with him. So Morano goes just 1 2/3 as Hale, with the pitching change, turns to his bullpen. We'll tell you about the new Wildcat pitcher in just a moment. Stanford ahead of Arizona, 1-0, bottom second. New pitcher for the Wildcats is Braden Zastro, a senior from Farmington, New Mexico, transferred from Pima Community College. Zastro, about to make his 10th appearance of the year, an 0-1 record, an ERA of 6.52. 9 2/3 innings pitched so far this season, 11 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned, 13 strikeouts, 7 walks. He's hit 5 batters, and opposing batters are hitting .282 on him. So Josh Morano, the freshman from Livermore, goes one time through the order for the Wildcats and gives way to Zastro. Owen Cobb stepping up to the plate with 2 on and 2 out. Stanford's already put 1 across, an RBI single by Trevor Haskins here in the bottom of the second inning. Zastro working from the stretch, the lefty deals, and that's a slider that started outside, missed outside even further. 1 ball and no strikes to Owen Cobb. Cobb popped up to second in his first plate appearance. in the first as we're back up to the top of the order. Now he cranks that one foul down the third baseline. 1 ball and 1 strike. Haskins at second. And Ethan Hott at first. 1-1. Pitch hit right to White, who bobbles it, gets it back, throws to second, safe. Called a base hit. Nope, check that, called E6. Rightfully so. Misheard the announcement, as that was hit right to White. And just couldn't come up with it on the transfer. And that would have been the third out of the inning. So E6 loads the bases. And Court McDonald, the lefty, who singled in his first plate appearance, is back at the dish. Off speed, high strike called. 0-1 to McDonald. This is the 7th batter for Stanford in this half inning. No balls and 1 strike. Slider with a little bit of movement as well. It goes and catches the inside corner. 0-2. Court McDonald drove in 3 at Rice back on March 2nd. 0-2 from Zastro. The pitch tails outside, low and away, 1-2. Arizona pitchers had done a terrific job of not issuing walks against Cal. They walked 4 Bear batters on Friday, but didn't walk any on either Saturday or Sunday. 1-2. And that one is lined down the third baseline, but bounces into the Arizona bullpen. Count stays at 1-2. Arizona had actually faced 95 consecutive batters without issuing a walk until Hott got on board with a base on balls earlier in this frame. McDonald swings, foul tips into the glove, and that is strike 3. RBI single by Trevor Haskins gives Stanford a 1-0 lead. Start of the third in just a moment. Stanford leading Arizona 1-0 as we begin the third inning here at Sunken Diamond. Xavier Esker leading off for the Wildcats. And we were about to get into his story just a little bit before we were so rudely interrupted by Emilio Corona being caught stealing at second base to end the top half of the second. Ryan Speciak, relatively clean through 2 innings so far. Fires a fastball on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Speciak's been doing a good job of throwing strikes so far. Xavier Esker, freshman from Palo Alto, California. You might know his dad. His name's David. Popped up high on the infield. Owen Cobb takes a couple steps up and makes the catch for out number 1. So yeah, that's right. Xavier, the son of the Clark and Elizabeth Nelson director of baseball, David Esker. That's pretty cool. Blake McDonald, the catcher for Arizona for today, is at the plate. First pitch from Speciak. He fires a fastball, 90 miles an hour, low and outside for ball 1. Blake McDonald batting 194, does have a home run and 5 RBI. That home run coming against Alabama. A 2-run shot on March 2nd. And this was cracked to center field. Hott, however, with a good beat on it as he makes the catch. 2-gun. Four pitches, 2 outs for Speciak so far in the top of the third. TJ Adams at the plate now. Adams, a freshman from Mesa, Arizona. That is East Valley, I know that. Spechiak's first pitch to him is a fastball that misses outside for ball one. Adams hitting .200. No home runs or RBI to this point. 1 ball and no strikes. Spechiak to Adams. Over Becerra's head and into left field for a base hit. So that was a hot shot that just rose. And Becerra tried to climb the ladder. Becerra 6'1". If he was 6'4", 6'5", might have been able to get to that one. But as it is, it's the second base hit of the afternoon so far for Arizona. Back up to the top of the order we go. Richie Morales lined to Jimmy Neti at first to begin the game. And that gets past Som. Goes all the way to the backstop. And Adams holds up at second. Well, so much foul room behind home plate. And that sometimes gives base runners a chance to take two. I've seen base runners score from second on wild pitches more than a handful of times in this park. So the wild pitch puts Adams at second. Spechiak, chest high from the stretch, fires a gorgeous curve that also tails away, and it's called strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. Morales deals. And that one is well outside. Now the count is 2-1. Morales began his collegiate career at Florida State. Played 4 games for the Seminoles before transferring to the State College of Florida. 2-1. The pitch inside came close to nicking Morales, but instead the count goes to 3-1. So how about that? Florida State to the State College of Florida. And now he's a Wildcat. Three balls and 1 strike. Spechiak spins back. And White, check that, Adams is back in safely at second. Morales hit .283 with a home run and 22 driven in for the State College of Florida last year. The 3-1 from Spechiak popped up and out of play. This will land on the roof of the press box as we hear the thump. And the count goes to 3-2. Hope our camera is safe up there. I'm pretty sure it is. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Adams at second. Singled and then advanced on a wild pitch. The 3-2 from Spechiak on the way. Inside, and actually might have hit him as well. It did. So Morales takes first after being hit by the pitch. Thomas Eager, Campy Wolf assistant coach for Stanford baseball, out of the dugout, heading towards the mound. There is no action right now in the Stanford bullpen. So Eager is just having a chat with Spechiak and checking in with him, along with the rest of the Cardinal infield. So Eager and Spechiak in the Stanford infield talking some things over. Numbers-wise and statistically, Stanford's pitching isn't necessarily going to wow you. Team ERA of 5.70 coming into this one. Strikeout to walk ratio of 1.89 as a team coming into this one. Both of those numbers 10th in the Pac-12. And a reminder that in the Pac-12, baseball is an 11-team league. So not impressive in some ways. However, that kind of overshadows a little bit some of the terrific things that Matt Scott and Christian Lim in particular have been able to accomplish so far this season. Lim took a no-hitter into the 8th inning on Saturday against Washington State. Back to action with Mason White, the most dangerous of the Wildcat bats. He struck out swinging in the first. Special trying to get out of the mini jam here in the top of the 3rd. Fires a breaking ball that goes inside for ball 1 to Mason White. White has struck out in all but 2 games this season, at least once. Already K'd once today. The 1-0. Fastball is launched deep to right, down the right field line, and it is gone. Mason White igniting that ball and sending it over the right field fence and giving the Wildcats a 3-1 lead. Boy, the only question about that one was where it was going to land, on which side of the foul pole. And unfortunately for Stanford, fair ball, 368 feet, and gives the Wildcats a 3-1 lead. White with his 12th home run of the season. Give him 42 RBIs on the year as well. First pitch, a fastball out of frustration from Speciak, misses outside. Ball 1 to Garen Caulfield. Caulfield popped up to short to end the first. The 1-0 pitch waves around at the breaking ball, 1-1. I see Nathan Fleischle walking over towards the Stanford bullpen. I don't see anybody else in there. The 1-1 plunks it down in there, called strike 2. Stanford has been able to rack up strikeouts as a pitching staff. That hasn't necessarily been the issue. Walks have been. Hit batters have been. The 1-2. Popped him up on the fastball, drifting back. It's Nadai who gets called off by Cobb, who makes the catch in shallow right center for the 3rd out of the inning. But a big blast by Mason White, a 3-run shot down the right field line, gives the Wildcats a 3-1 lead. Bottom 3rd, Arizona leading Stanford 3-1. Mason White with a 3-run homer to give the Wildcats its current lead. Stanford will try to get back in the swing of things here in the bottom half of the 3rd. Great to have you with us here on Stanford Livestream. Troy Clarity flying the ship solo for you. Well, a good place to start for Stanford is Malcolm Moore. Moore was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance. First pitch to him, tails low and outside for ball 1. Moore with some good at-bats over the weekend against Washington State, hoping to keep it going. Is the DH for today, not catching, giving him the day off from those grueling duties. Pushes a bunt down the 3rd base line, and that almost went fair with the shift on by Arizona. There was nobody home down the line. Boy, that would have been something, and I don't know why more batters don't try to do that. But the shift is on. They put it back on for the Wildcats. 1 ball and 1 strike. Moore shows bunt again, pulls it back, but this pitch goes over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So there are actually 4 outfielders right now. 3 on the infield. No one down the 3rd base line. The 1-2. Fouled off. So this is a bit of a wrinkle here. Xavier Esker, the second baseman for Arizona, is in shallow right center. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch. Starts high, stays high, 2-2. But there are 4 in the outfield right now for Arizona. So this is certainly one of the more exotic shifts that I've ever seen anyway. The 2-2. Popped up and landing, twisting foul. Count stays at 2-2. By the way, final line on Josh Morano, the Arizona starter. 1 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned. 1 walk and no strikeouts in 30 pitches. The young man from Livermore getting the start today here in the Bay Area. 2-2 to Malcolm Moore. The pitch. Cranked to left center. Going back. Making the catch. Just shy of the track. And that is out number 1. That was TJ Adams playing left center field. And Mason White, the shortstop, was playing really left field. I'm not exactly sure how else to call that right now. But Mason White retakes his place back at shortstop. Richie Morales playing a more conventional third base position now. And Jimmy Natai coming to the plate. And that one on the outside corner from Zastro for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike to Natai, who popped up to first to end the first. The 0-1. Fastball high, 1-1 to Natai. Jimmy Natai also completed in rugby, of course. He's from Australia, although he grew up in Atlanta. But also played basketball and touch football and track and field. This one's hit to shallow right. Going back is Esker, who makes the catch. 2 away. Luke Lavin singled and scored in the 2nd inning as the freshman strides up to the plate. Mentioned the terrific pitching performance from Christian Lim against Washington on Saturday as he took a no-hitter into the 8th inning as that pitch low and outside for ball 1. And through 8 quality innings overall against Washington State. Part of a 3-1 win for the Cardinal over the Cougs. As the 1-0 is high, 2-0. And in real time, I mentioned that Christian Lim should probably get consideration for Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week. I know he was nominated. Well, we should find out any minute now who has been named Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week. Early on this swing, Lavin fouls it off. Count goes to 2-1. As I believe that announcement is going to come at 1 o'clock. I'm looking at my watch right now on my phone to confirm, hey, it's 12:59, so we should be getting the announcement from the Pac-12 at some point. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fouled off, opposite field. Boy, Lim has been magnificent. The freshman from Nashville with superb control. I got a chance to catch up with him for a little bit after Saturday's game. Nice young man to chat with. Big fan of tacos, so am I, so we have a lot to talk about. 2-2, low and outside, blocked by McDonald. Count goes full on Lavin. Three and 2 the count to Luke Lavin. And the pitch on the way. Fair ball pulled down the line, trying to find it, does, and he just gets it to Zastro in time for the out. Splain recovered just in time. If he hadn't, he might have had some splaining to do. Couldn't resist. 3-1 Arizona after 3. Well, when it comes to the college baseball schedule for today, you have reached the path of totality. This is it. The only game on the college baseball schedule in Division I. You're watching it right now on Stanford Livestream. Arizona 3, Stanford 1 as we begin the 4th inning. Brendan Summerhill leading off for Arizona versus Ryan Speciak, who has now gone 3+, deals a breaking ball inside. 1-0 to Summerhill, who grounded to short to begin the 2nd. Gets a big swing and a miss from Summerhill there. Count now evens out 1 apiece. Speciak, 46 pitches, has struck out 2 and walked none. He's given up 3 hits, but one of those 3 hits, a 3-run bomb by Mason White. That's the difference in this game so far. Summerhill swings and misses again, 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes, a bit of a shift on now for Summerhill. And Summerhill reaches out and puts it right where the shift was not. Nice piece of hitting by Brendan Summerhill. Well, and I think Stanford kind of moved into that shift on that very pitch, as Becerra went shaded towards the midpoint between second and third, with Trevor Haskins standing right behind second base. And that's where Summerhill just reached out and poked it. So Corona comes up to the plate. Corona singled, then was caught stealing in the second. It's a curveball inside from Speciak for ball 1. The Pac-12 has announced its players and pitchers of the week. Christian Lim is not your pitcher of the week. 1 ball and no strike. The pitch from Speciak, swing and a miss on the breaking ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jacob Kometz of Oregon State has won Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week honors for his performance against Arizona State through a complete game. Gave up just 1 earned run, scattered 4 hits, struck out 6, walked none. As that pitch goes up high, 2-1. So that line's certainly worthy of Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week. As Oregon State beat Arizona State 9-1. That game was also played on Saturday, matching up against Christian Lim's terrific performance. Low and inside from Speciak to Corona, 3-1. Lim was nominated for Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week. Owen Cobb was nominated for Pac-12 Player of the Week, as he went deep twice against the Cougs and had an otherwise big day at the plate with 4 hits against Washington State yesterday. The 3-1. Fouled off and landing on top of the Stanford dugout, bouncing into the stands. Cobb not named Pac-12 Player of the Week. That went to Gavin Turley of Oregon State, as he drove in 11 runs last week with 3 home runs. Had 10 hits, 21 total bases. Okay, I'm fine with that. Payoff pitch from Speciak, runner going. And this pitch is hit right to Becerra, trying to find it, recovers, throws to first, not in time for the out. So Becerra, at the very least, knocked it down, but couldn't quite find the clamps on it. And it is called E5. So an error for Stanford. Fielding errors have been a bit of an issue for Stanford. Of course, the big one by Brady Reynolds in right field that drew a direct line to Washington State tying the game in the top of the 9th. And the Cougs eventually winning in 11. So with that, Ryan Speciak's afternoon is done. Cardinal turning to the bullpen. New pitcher coming in for Stanford. His information in just a moment. Cats with 2 on and nobody out in the 4th, and ahead by 2. Arizona trying to extend its 3-1 lead in the top of the 4th inning. Cassius Thomas being called on to try to prevent that from happening. Thomas, sophomore from Los Angeles, a transfer from Duke. Thomas about to make his 14th appearance of the year, has an 0-1 record and an 8.62 ERA. 15 2/3 innings pitched, 22 hits, 16 runs, 15 of them earned, 16 strikeouts, 13 walks. Opposing batters hitting .328 against Thomas, who has dealt 4 wild pitches and hit 5 batters so far this year. It's been somewhat of a struggle for Cassius of late, as Cassius gave up the tying home run in the bottom of the ninth against Texas Tech last week in Lubbock. And then yesterday, faced 3 batters at the top of the 6th inning against Washington State. Walked 1, or check that, gave up a single and then walked the next 2 before he was lifted for Torrin O'Haron. But unfortunately, those hits and those walks led to Washington State getting within a run. Meanwhile, this one is bouncing in front of Som. He's able to recover and get it back, but everybody moves up 90 feet. So runners in scoring position. And Tommy Splain at the plate. Splain struck out swinging to end the first. So Summerhill now at second. Corona, check that, Summerhill now at third. Corona now at second on the wild pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Thomas deals, and this one's fouled off, 1-1. Thomas threw 2 scoreless innings at Rice on March 3rd. Young man appeared in 6 games for Duke last year. The 1-1. The pitch. Down the line, a laser, but foul. Count goes to 1-2. Of course, Stanford and Duke will be seeing a lot more of each other for the foreseeable future starting this fall. One and two. Thomas deals, reaches out, pops it foul again. And that bounced, glanced off a fan sitting in the very top row, just underneath the upper concourse here at Sunken Diamond. Everyone appears to be okay. Count stays at 1-2. Summerhill at third. He singled. Corona at second. He reached on an error by third baseman Timo Becerra. Nobody out. The 1-2 pitch. This one's hit to left, a fly ball that is landing just foul. So Splain has to walk back, have his bat handed to him, and we'll do it all over again. 1 ball and 2 strikes with Cassius Thomas on the mound. The 1-2 pitch from Thomas on the way. Curveball popped up, could be playable. Nadai sprinting, trying to get there, and he makes the sliding grab. And everybody else stays put on the base paths. Jimmy Nadai with a superb defensive play. That's out number 1. Boy, Nadai had a long way to go. He almost actually ended up close to the on-deck circle. But he got there and got a crucial out. 2 more to go. Here's Xavier Esker, who popped out to second to begin the third. Looks at the fastball that misses low from Thomas for ball 1. Esker on Saturday went 2 for 3, including a double. Those were the first base hits of his career. 1 ball and no strikes. And Som can't find it. Summerhill comes home. 4-1 Arizona. The low fastball that Som just couldn't quite find the handle on. And Summerhill scores relatively easily. So it's an earned run. And Corona moves over to third. Infield in for the Cardinal. 2 balls and no strikes. Breaking ball. Actually, nope, 92 miles an hour on that fastball. It's inside. Count 3-0 to Esker. So a couple of wild pitches dealt by Thomas. The 3-0. That one's in there, called strike 1. So Esker doing big things against the other school where his dad was the head coach over at Cal over the weekend. The 3-1 pitch, fouled off, 3-2. And talking to some folks in the Arizona program, they said Xavier was pumped when he hit that double. And that he might not remember it. 3-2. The pitch. Curveball misses high. Ball 4. So runners at first and third. It's the first walk issued by Stanford pitchers so far today. Here's Blake McDonald, who flew out to center in the third. No action in the Stanford pen. First pitch to McDonald. Shows bunt, pulls it back, throw to first. Got him. Charlie Som gets Esker at first. And now there are 2 away. Chip Hale might want to have the umpires take another look at this. Did Esker beat the tag from Nadi? Well, and a heads-up throw from Charlie Som, a good throw on target, too. As that was impressively executed all the way around. Esker called out at first. We'll see if it stands. Cardinal on the road this weekend. They'll head up to Corvallis to try to take on the Oregon State Beavers. Beavers in first place as of today at 8-3. Arizona tied for second at 10-5, but they have an identical win percentage in conference play as Oregon, who is 8-4. So the Ducks and the Wildcats both tied for second in conference as of right now. But Oregon State atop the standings. And so Stanford will try to knock the Beavers down a peg or two. Stanford has come away from Goss Stadium with some big wins over the years. And again, the way the Beavers have played, by and large, for beyond a decade now, anytime you come away with a win at Goss, it's a big win. So Stanford on the road this upcoming weekend at Oregon State. Arizona heads home to face Louisiana Tech for a non-conference series. So 3 against the Bulldogs on tap at High Corbett Field for the Arizona Wildcats for this weekend. Have not been to High Corbett Field. The only time I've been to an Arizona baseball game was when they were still playing at Sansit Field, which was across the street from the McHale Center and just a couple blocks down the road from Arizona Stadium. Officials have seen, the umpires have seen what they needed to see, and the call stands. Esker thrown out, picked off, 2-3 at first. So a big out, but still a runner at third for the Wildcats. With McDonald at the plate. Thomas from the belt deals the 1-0. It's fouled off, 1-1. Blake McDonald from Santa Rosa actually began his collegiate career at Santa Rosa Junior College, then played a couple seasons at St. Mary's. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch low and outside, handled well by Som, 2-1. So I'm sure McDonald happy to be back in the Bay. Two balls and 1 strike. And the pitch. Popped up, playable. Coming in, Nadi, who calls everyone off. Makes the catch in front of the coach's box. And the side is retired. Arizona does get one more on a wild pitch, and they extend their lead. It's 4-1. Cats over the Card. Bottom fourth in just a moment. Bottom of the fourth inning, Arizona leading Stanford 4-1. Charlie Somm coming to the plate. He singled but was caught stealing third in the second. One of two Stanford base runners to be thrown out at third. Court McDonald, the other one. Braden Zastro deals and fires a first pitch strike to Somm. By the way, final line on Ryan Speciak, the Stanford starter, went 3+, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and hit a batter. Pitches upstairs and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Somm. So both teams have gone to the bullpen. Lefty, Zastro versus Somm. Who watches this one go down low, 2-1. Wildcats have won 7 straight entering today. Sweeps of UCLA and Cal, along with the win over New Mexico. Opposite field, but right to Splain, who barely even has to leap. That's 1 away. Brings up Timo Becerra. Becerra flew out to center back in the second. Wildcats picked to finish 9th in the Pac-12 preseason poll. Lefty Zastro deals. It's hit right back off the mound. Takes a high ricochet. The throw to first in time for the out. Xavier Esker handled that one quite well. Not sure if that ball actually hit Zastro, but it took a high recoil. But Esker able to track it the whole way. So Trevor Haskins, responsible for Stanford's lone run so far today, an RBI single back in the second. That's a slider that's on the outside corner for strike 1 from Zastro. Officially, that has been called a 1-4-3 ground out. So officially, that ball by Becerra making contact with Zastro. 0-1. Swing and a miss on the fastball. 0-2 now. No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Well high and outside, 1-2 to Haskins. Some warm-up tosses for an Arizona reliever, a lefty in the pen. 1-2. And that one is roped into the hole and into left field for a base hit. So Haskins the first to reach after Zastro had retired 6 in a row. Ethan Hott the batter as he walked in the second. Trying to extend the inning. Looks at a slider. Gets called for strike 1. Stanford left the bases loaded in the third inning, as they had a chance for a big inning at that juncture, but couldn't quite punch it through. They did get one across, though. The 0-1, breaking ball low, 1-1. Stanford had a 7-2 lead over Washington State yesterday after 4 innings, but after that, the Cougs did all the scoring, as they scored the final 7 runs of the game, including 2 in extras to win it. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's inside 2-1. Cardinal did have a couple chances to get some critical insurance runs at that juncture of the game yesterday. Could not punch him through. The 2-1 from Zastro. Inside corner called, 2-2. Haskins at first after singling. 2-2. Off the fist, roller to White, shovel to Esker, and the side is retired. Card get one on, but leave him stranded. 4-1 Arizona after 4. Sunny skies, 68 degrees on a Monday afternoon here at Stanford. Great to have you with us on Stanford Livestream. Troy Clarity here, Arizona leading Stanford 4-1. TJ Adams, the bottom of the order, leading off for the Wildcats. Adams singled and scored in the third. Facing against Cassius Thomas, as that one is inside for ball one to Adams. One ball and no strikes. Thomas misses high with the breaking ball, 2-0. April 8th, 2024. 50 years to the day of one of the great moments in all of baseball history. Hank Aaron hit number 715. 2-0. Adams ahead of that one, fouls it off, 2-1. April 8th, 1974, Dodgers and Braves. Down at the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. 2 balls and 1 strike. Early again, fouls it off again, 2-2. But Hank Aaron that day besting Babe Ruth and becoming baseball's home run king. What a moment that must have been. 2-2. Fouled off again. Adams trying to get his timing down. And a moment that still resonates for many reasons. Of course, what Hank had to go through in the run-up to that big home run. Some folks didn't want him to achieve that milestone. 2-2. The pitch. High, 3-2. And the fact that Aaron had to go through the entire offseason. He couldn't get it done in the course of the 1973 regular season. He had to wait through an entire offseason to get there. But it happened. Payoff pitch, and that hit the umpire. It is ball 4, and Gary DeFabio gathers himself for a moment. And remember, the Stanford training staff will come out to see if Gary is okay. Now, I believe the pitch also hit TJ Adams, too. Either way, it's resulting in Adams standing at first base. And taking us back to the top of the Wildcat batting order with Richie Morales. Officially scored hit by pitch. Second hit batter for Stanford pitchers this afternoon. Morales was the other one. That came in the third. He later came around to score on Mason White's 3-run home run. And that pitch hits Morales plunk square in the back. So back-to-back pitches that end up making contact with Wildcat batters. Mason White coming to the plate. White gave Arizona the lead in the third inning with his 3-run home run, a towering shot. The only major question was whether it was going to land fair or foul. And unfortunately for Stanford, it landed fair and in the trees. White's 12th home run of the year. Nobody out. 93-mile-an-hour fastball low and inside for ball one. So Hank Aaron, the home run king, and that stood for about 33 years until Barry Bonds made history himself. Popped up, this is playable, coming in. McDonald at left, reaches back, makes the grab, one away. Brings up Caulfield, who has popped up a couple of times today. Barry Bonds, of course, surpassing Hank Aaron with 756 in 2007. Two on and one out. And the pitch to Caulfield is high for ball one. And some folks, even to this day, still recognize Hank Aaron as the baseball home run king. One ball and no strikes. The pitch fouled off. One ball and one strike. Now, of course, there's also Josh Gibson of the Negro Leagues who hit, 848, I believe? Then there's also Sadaharu O over in Japan. One ball and one strike. The pitch. And tried to check his swing and did. Caulfield held up the appeal to first base umpire Greg Charles. The count goes to 2-1. But in Major League Baseball, it's Barry Bonds atop the all-time home run chart. 2-1. Inside, 3-1. But for whatever reason, 755 not as heavily celebrated as 715. Whether it's right or wrong, that's probably a discussion for a different day, but certainly 715, arguably the most historic home run in baseball history, 50 years ago today. Caulfield walks. So a hit batter, a fly out to left, and a walk is how this inning has gone so far. And Brendan Summerhill, who singled and later came around to score on a wild pitch, is at the plate. Summerhill, by the way, has now reached base safely in 25 straight games. Bases loaded. Adams at third, Morales at second, Caulfield at first. Summerhill at the dish, looks at strike one on the outside corner. Summerhill drove in 7 against Oregon on March 24th. 2-run single, an RBI single, and a grand slam against the Ducks. Thomas reaches up, comes home with it. The throw gets there in time. So the run is prevented as Adams is out at home. The bases do remain loaded, but now there are 2 out. So Thomas able to alertly head home with that one. So right now it's Morales at third, Caulfield at second, and Summerhill at first with Emilio Corona at the plate. Corona singled in the second, reached on an error in the fourth. .93-mile-an-hour fastball misses just a bit low for ball one. The 1-0. Fastball misses high, 2-0 to Corona. Corona actually began his collegiate career at the University of Washington. He transferred to Pima Community College, played there a couple years, and now he's in Tucson. The 2-0. High fastball again, 3-0, and nowhere to put Corona. Emilio began the season with a 5-game RBI streak. Three balls and no strikes, bases loaded. The pitch Ball 4. Another run comes across. 5-1, Arizona. So a hit batter, fly out to left, walk, fielder's choice, and a walk. And that will end this outing for Cassius Thomas. Bases remain loaded with 2 out, and Arizona ahead 5-1. New pitcher for Stanford. We'll tell you about him in just a moment on Stanford Livestream. "5-1 Arizona. Wildcats have the bases loaded with 2 out in the top of the 5th inning. Stanford turning to Ben Reimers, third pitcher of the day for the Cardinal, freshman from Aliso Viejo. Reimers on the year, about to make his 11th appearance, a 2-1 record and a 7.11 ERA, 19 innings pitched, 19 hits, 15 runs, all earned, 19 strikeouts and 12 walks. Opposing batters hitting .260 against young Ben Reimers. Well, Arizona has scored once so far in this half inning, and they've done it without a base hit. A couple hit batters, a couple of walks. And Tommy Splain at the plate. Reimers plunks a curveball right down in there for a called strike 1. Splain struck out to end the 2nd and fouled out to first. Jimmy Nadai, a terrific running play in the 4th. Splain backs out, calls time. Splain actually had 2 doubles against Stanford in the Pac-12 tournament last year. The 0-1. Another curve, this one with a little bit more movement on it. Catches the outside corner, 0-2. Arizona beat Stanford in the Pac-12 semifinals last year. Lost to Oregon in the Pac-12 final. No balls in, 2 strikes. With the bases loaded. The pitch, golf foul. And that's showing in the Pac-12 tournament a big reason why Arizona was able to make it into the NCAA tournament, as they actually finished 8th in the conference during regular season action, but made the tournament, headed to Fayetteville, Arkansas, lost to TCU, and then got eliminated by Santa Clara. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball blocked by Som as he had to backhand that one. Arizona made the NCAA tournament in 2022. They were in Omaha the year before that. Stanford knocked them out. The 1-2 pitch. And that hits Tommy Splain, and that brings another run across. So Caulfield scores. And now it's 6-1 Arizona. And that brings up Xavier Esker. Esker popped up to second in the 3rd, walked, and was later picked off of first in the 4th. Bases are still loaded. Esker, a check swing, back to the screen, 0-1. Cardinal pitchers have walked 3, hit 3, and issued 2 wild pitches so far today. The 0-1. Off speed, it's tapped to third. Becerra can't find it, and a run scores. All Becerra had to do was just glove it and then tap the bag with his foot, and he couldn't get the ball. 7-1 Wildcats. Second error for the Cardinal, both by Becerra. So Summerhill comes across to score. Blake McDonald, 9th batter of this half inning, fouls one off the very top of the screen. And Arizona still threatening to make this game spin completely out of control. Already Plated 3 so far in this half inning. McDonald facing a 1-1 count. 0 for 2 so far today. 1-1. That's a breaking ball just inside. 2-1. Hit batter. Pop out to left. Walk. Fielder's choice. Walk. Hit batter. E5. 2-1. And the pitch up high. 3-1 with nowhere to put McDonald. Corona at third, Splain at second, Esker at first. And this one is popped up, lifted left field, two Cardinal converging, and neither of them communicate, and it falls in between the both of them. McDonald and I believe Haskins both converged on it, and then they each looked at each other at the exact wrong time, and the ball plopped down harmlessly in foul ground. The inning extended, and another chance for the Wildcats. Bases loaded. The pitch. Low and outside, ball 4. Another run comes across. Corona scores. So the Wildcats have batted around. TJ Adams started all this when he was hit by a pitch on a 3-2 count. Arizona still has not recorded a hit so far in this half inning. High and inside, ball 1. Arizona scored 8 runs on just 4 hits today. Good breaking ball, but it misses low. 2-0. Splain at third, Esker at second, McDonald at first. That one goes over. It's called strike 1. The 2-1. Hit sharply to short, throw over to second, and finally the side is retired. Arizona scores 4 runs without a single hit, and they take an 8-1 lead to the bottom of the 5th. Tough afternoon for Stanford so far, but time to turn it around. It's the bottom of the 5th inning. Arizona leading Stanford 8-1. Owen Cobb coming to the plate, facing a new pitcher for Arizona in Eric Orloff, a lefty, a junior from Northbrook, Illinois. Orloff, a 1-2 record, a 4.97 ERA. Now appearing in his 13th game of the season. 15 strikeouts versus 5 walks in 12 2/3 innings worth of work. Opposing batters hitting .261 against Orloff. First pitch from him, called strike 1 to Cobb, who popped up in the first, reached on an error in the second. No balls and 1 strike. Fouled back, 0-2. Orloff from Illinois. No shortage of Midwestern players on the Arizona roster. Chicago, a couple from Chicago, Lakewood, Illinois, Hanover Park, Illinois, Northbrook, Illinois represented as well, all those in the Chicagoland area. Going back and making the catch with his back to home plate, Mason White, 1 away. Court McDonald 1 for 2 as he singled in the first but was caught stealing at third. So there are more than a handful of Wildcats from the Chicagoland area on the roster for Arizona. Well, high and inside, McDonald backs away from it as the ball glanced off of Blake McDonald's glove. One and 0 to Court McDonald. And that one does hit him. So Orloff just didn't really have control of that curve. Well, not for nothing, Wildcats have hit 2 batters themselves today. Malcolm Moore was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Flew out to left in the third. So plenty of youngsters from Illinois playing for Arizona now. That one's a slider right down the middle for a called strike one. Then again, winter in the Chicagoland area, winter in Tucson. Let me think about that for a moment. No balls and 1 strike. It's a fastball that misses a bit low and a bit outside as well, 1-1. Then again, winters in the Bay aren't too bad either. Last couple have been kind of on the rainy side, but I'll take rain over 6 degrees. 1-1. It's fastball right down the middle, 1-2. Minnesota also represented on the Arizona roster. New York as well, New York State. Fastball just misses outside, not by much, 2-2. Of course, Stanford with no shortage of out-of-state youngsters, just by the very nature of the university. Stanford has a recruit nationally. 2-2. The pitch. Same pitch, same result, just a little bit high and a little bit outside, and the count full on Moore. Heck, Stanford even going internationally with Jimmy Natai from Australia, although he spent much of his growing up in Atlanta. The 3-2. Wrapped right to second. Throw for 1, and it's a 4-6 3-double play. Moore hit that one right into the shift, and the side is retired. 5 inning in the books. Arizona leading Stanford 8-1. Arizona with the lead over Stanford as we begin the 6th inning. Cardinal making a switch with their corner infielders, with Jimmy Natai moving from first to third, replacing Timo Becerra, who has committed a couple of errors, unfortunately for him today, and Brandon Larson replacing Natai at first. 8 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Wildcats. 1 run, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Cardinal. And the 6th inning begins with the Wildcats going back up to the top of their order. Richie Morales has been hit by 2 pitches today and came around the score on both instances. Ben Reimers on the mound, fouls. Morales fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Morales had a good day against USC back on March 8th, 3 of 4 and a run driven in. That curveball catches the outside corner. And Morales is down in the count 0-2. Reimer's ready. The pitch. Tried the outside corner, just missed it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ben Reimers, freshman from Aliso Viejo, J. Sarah Catholic School, is where he prepped. A 1-2 pitch. Popped up. Fly ball actually out to right field. And Luke Lavin making the grab. we've seen some shifting around in the Stanford outfield with Luke Lavin, who's normally been in left, moving over to right for this game. And now shifting things around at third base as well. Mason White at the plate. And launches that one down the first base line, foul. White's 3-run home run in the third put the Wildcats ahead. A lead that to this point, Arizona has been able to not only maintain but add on to. No balls and 1 strike. That's high, 1-1. White was a collegiate baseball freshman All-America last year. Terrific year, slashed 313, 379, 611. How about that? That one slipped out of Reimer's hand and sails all the way to the backstop. White had a 17-game hit streak last year. His dad, Ben, and his granddad, Tim, both played baseball at the U of A. Not at the same time, though. That would be strange. 2-2 the count now to Mason White. Two and two. Chopped foul. Just got over the top of that one. Count stays at 2-2. So Mason's dad and granddad played for Arizona. Ben Reimer's on the mound. His dad, Tom, played for Stanford. The 2-2 pitch. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that'll make Tom Reimers proud. So the strikeout by Reimers. Third time that Wildcat batters have struck out so far this afternoon. Garen Caulfield batting, 0 for 2. Walked and scored in the 5th. Pitch high for ball 1. Caulfield made the Pac-12 All-Tournament team 2 years ago. Had a pretty good freshman season. Varied between starting second base and starting third base for the Wildcats that year. Nice curve from Reimers. Strike 1. Had a 15-game hit streak that year. That was his first year in the program after transferring from Delta College. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fouled off. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to Caulfield. The pitch from Reimers. Curveball tapped to third. Nat Ty up with it. Throws to first. High. And able to get his foot down. Larson gets to the bag and retires the side. 8-1, Arizona with the lead. Stanford picking up the bats in the bottom of the 6th in just a moment. Jimmy Nati leading things off for Stanford in the bottom of the 6th inning with Stanford down 8-1. Stanford and Arizona sharing a conference for at least the next couple months anyway, but this is a non-conference game, so this result will not count in the Pac-12 standings. Nati with a couple of pop-outs so far today. And Eric Orloff deals a first pitch strike on the inside corner. Nothing in 1. And I watches this one 0-2 now. No balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Now it reaches out, fouls it back. Count stays at 0-2. Orloff, the third pitcher for Arizona this afternoon. Josh Morano, a young man from Livermore, got the start, went an inning and 2/3, 1 time through the order. The 0-2 to Nada. Just misses a bit low, 1-2. Braden Zastro went 2 1/3. And so far, Orloff has gone 1+. The pitch. Nada fouls this one off. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. The lefty deals. And this one a soft foul off. Almost landed, I believe, in the marketing table there. Off to the right of the press box here. Every once in a while, one foul ball does get in here. The 1-2. Hit to center field. Summerhill has a beat on it. 1 gone. Luke Lavin singled and scored in the 2nd. Grounded out to first in the 3rd. First pitch from Orloff. Low and outside, 1-0 to Lavin. A 1-0. In front of it, fouls it off, 1-1. Arizona's already faced Oregon. They won just 1 of 3 against the Ducks a couple weeks ago. Slider from Orloff. A beaut. Outside corner called, strike 2. Arizona will face Oregon State the final weekend of Pac-12 regular season play. So that's in mid-May. Who knows what could be at stake for those 2 teams here. Here's a fly ball to right field. Lavin sending it to right and making the running catch just shy of the track. It's Corona. And about the only place in Sunken Diamond where there is shadow right now. Corona goes back and gets it. So that deep fly ball brings up Charlie Som, who singled in the 2nd inning. Was thrown out at 3rd as he was caught stealing. High strike not called, so it's 1-0 to Som, who lined out to first in the 4th. A 1-0. Slider in there. 1-1. Arizona hosts Washington State next weekend in a return to conference play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hit to left and right to TJ Adams. 3 up, 3 down. Cats lead the card 8-1. 7th inning in just a moment on Stanford Livestream. Brandon Summerhill leading things off in the top of the 7th inning. Arizona leading Stanford 8-1. Ben Reimer's still on the mound for the Cardinal. Arizona just 4 base hits today. Summerhill shows bunt. And it goes backwards. Good thing for him, because if it had gone forwards, it would have been out number 1 very quickly. Reimer's ready, so is Summerhill. The 0-1. Locked down low, gets away from Som, but no one on the base paths. 1 ball and 1 strike. 3 in the 3rd, 4 in the 5th. Those have been the big innings of damage for the Wildcats so far this afternoon. A 1-1 to Summerhill. Well outside, 2-1. No action as of right now in the Stanford bullpen. Arizona baseball head coach Chip Hale in his 3rd year at the helm of that program. 2 balls and 1 strike. The pitch is hit to right center field. Going back hot and Lavin, and it's off the wall. Hustling around second, and now scampering back into second. A towering double by Brendan Summerhill. And Summerhill thought about taking 3 for a second, but then scampered back and settles for 2. So the leadoff double by Brendan Summerhill, who had his 12-game hit streak snapped yesterday, trying to start a new one today, as he has 2 base hits this afternoon. Emilio Corona has a base hit today. Singled in the second, also reached on an error in the fourth, and walked with the bases loaded. And later came around to score himself on a bases loaded walk in the 5th inning. This one's popped up down the first base line. Larson in foul territory makes the catch. Tommy Splain coming up to the plate. Splain struck out in the second. Popped out to first in the 4th inning. And was hit by a pitch in the 5th. Summerhill with the leadoff double. He's still at second with 1 out. Pitch number 37 from Ben Reimers on the way. And this one goes almost straight up. Backing up, it's Cobb. Shallow center, 2 away. Boy, it's been pop-up city so far in this game. Now Xavier Esker steps up to the plate. He walked in the 4th, reached on an error in the 5th. Chip Hale, the Arizona head coach, used to be the Arizona Diamondbacks manager. He was in that role for 2 seasons. This little slider from Reimers goes over for a called strike 1. Chip Hale, born in San Jose, actually played for Campolindo High School over in Moraga. That's Gale's territory. No balls and 1 strike. Fastball cracked to left, and that gets down for a base hit. Summerhill comes around. He scores, and it's an RBI single for Xavier Esker. In a ballpark that I'm sure means quite a lot to him. He went to high school just across the way. He maybe even just glanced over at the Stanford dugout and looked at his dad for a brief moment or two. But Esker delivers an RBI single and gives the Wildcats a 9-1 lead. Blake McDonald walked with the bases loaded in the 5th. Hit to center field. Hot going back. Makes the running grab and retires the side. Leadoff double leads to an RBI single. And Arizona is now ahead 9-1. 7th inning stretch time here at Sunken Diamond. We'll observe it ourselves. Back to Sunken in a moment. (9-1) Arizona leading things here at Sunken Diamond as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Wildcats have a new pitcher on the mound, Anthony Susak, but you can call him Tonko. Susak, a junior from Sacramento, went to Jesuit High School out that way. And the first batter that Susak faces is Brandon Larson, who came in as a defensive replacement. Susak's first pitch is inside for ball 1. Susak's numbers on the year: 0-2 with a 9.60 ERA, 8 appearances now with 5 starts, 15 innings pitched, 27 hits, 16 runs, all of them earned, 15 strikeouts versus 3 walks as he drops that breaking ball in there. Swing and a miss by Larson for strike 2. Or check that, strike 1. Opposing batters hitting .380 against Susac as he squares off against Brandon Larson, sophomore from Rockland. It's a little Sacramento on Sacramento action here. Fouled off. Larson now in the count 1-2. Larson, a transfer from UC San Diego, hitting .276 with 1 home run and 2 RBI. One and two. Fastball low and away. Count goes to 2-2 on Larson. Two balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Got him. Swing and a miss. Nasty stuff inside from Susac. And if that last name sounds a bit familiar, there are 2 reasons why it should for Stanford fans. As Trevor Haskins comes to the plate. Haskins with 2 of Stanford's 5 hits so far today. RBI single in the second and a single in the fourth. All right, he deals, and this one is cracked foul to the Arizona dugout. Anthony F. Susac, his sister Sophia, national champion synchronized swimmer at Stanford right here. So that's one reason why you should maybe go, hey, Susac, that name sounds a little bit familiar. That's one reason. The second reason is the reason I remember, quite honestly. His cousin Daniel played baseball for the Wildcats very recently. The 1-1. Drops it in there, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Daniel Susac, the 2021 Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, helped to lead the Wildcats to Omaha that season and was a first-round draft pick that year in 2022. Outside 2-2 to Haskins. Two and two. The pitch. Went around. That's strike 3. So back-to-back Ks for Tonko Susac to begin his outing. Ethan Hott walked in the second, grounded to short in the fourth. Susac's first pitch to Hott. Misses low. 1-0 on Ethan. He's from Arizona. Was actually 2-time first-team All-State during his high school days at Arizona. That was in there, called strike 1. Chaparral High School in the Phoenix metro area. 1-1. That's a fastball outside corner, called strike 2. So something tells me that Ethan Hott has played against some of the members of the Arizona Wildcats squad. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That pitch is a fastball low. 2-2. Susac ready. Ball to the chest. And now the 2-2 pitch. Hott reaches out, rolls it to short. White gets it over to Splain, and the side is retired. 3 up, 3 down. Wildcat pitchers have retired 7 straight. End of 7 innings. Arizona leading Stanford 9-1. Coming to you from sunny Sunken Diamond. Gorgeous Monday afternoon on the farm. Troy Clarity here on Stanford live stream. A one-off between the Cardinal and the Wildcats. And right now, Arizona has a 9-1 lead as we begin the 8th inning. Bottom of the order for Arizona, it's TJ Adams. With Reimers on the mound for the Cardinal. First pitch down low, ball 1. Adams singled in the first, was hit by a pitch in the 4th and grounded out. Or check that, hit by a pitch in the 5th and grounded out also in the 5th. A 1-0. Early on that swing, 1-1. The 5th inning was the one that really cemented this game to this point in Arizona's favor. 1 ball, 1 strike. Curve misses upstairs. That 5th inning went hit batter, pop out to the left, walk, fielder's choice, walk, hit batter, error, walk, and then a ground out. Not ideal for Stanford. Giving up 4 runs on no base hits at all during that frame. Count now 3-1. Count full. Reimers looking in, getting the sign. The 3-2 pitch. Here's a pop, shallow right, and nobody gets there in time. Well, Cobb and Larson and Lavin all tried to get there, but picture-perfect placement by TJ Adams, his second base hit of the day. He ends up at second. It is a double down the line. Kind of been that kind of day for Arizona in some respects. Back to the top of the Wildcat order. Richie Morales, a line out, a fly out, and has been hit by a pitch twice so far this afternoon. It's fastball right down the middle from Reimers, strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Som tried to frame it, doesn't get the call. 1-1. Arizona, NCAA tournament in 2023 and 2022. Made it to the Men's College World Series in 2021. They won 45 games that year and won the Pac-12 championship too. Opposite field down the line, but that lands foul. Count goes to 1-2. And that was a fun team to watch. You mentioned one of those names, Daniel Susak, helped to lead the way. Jacob Berry. Jay Johnson was the head coach of the Wildcats that year before accepting the gig at LSU during that offseason. The 1-2 pitch from Reimers. Just a bit low, 2-2. Arizona won the Pac-12 title in 2021, made it to Omaha, were knocked out of Omaha by Stanford. As the Cardinal came oh so close that year to winning it all. 2-2. Off the fist and foul ground, but landing well out of harm's way. Stanford in 2021 finishing tied for 3rd at the College World Series. That had been their first appearance in Omaha in 13 years. Stanford lost to NC State, beat Arizona, stay alive, and been eliminated by Vanderbilt in that heartbreaking fashion. I still can't talk about how that ended. Pitch inside, full count to Morales. Three balls and 2 strikes to Morales. The pitch. Well low and outside, ball 4. Second walk issued by Reimers, 5 overall for the Stanford pitching staff, but they've also hit 3 batters and issued and uncorked 2 wild pitches. Mason White exhales, steps into the box. He struck out twice, flown out to left, but his big contribution has been a 3-run home run that put Arizona ahead in the 3rd inning. That's a fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. Stanford has not had a base hit since the 4th inning, and they have not scored since the 2nd inning. That was a problem for the Cardinal yesterday against Washington State. The 0-1. Fly ball to left field. Could be trouble. Back to the wall, and it is gone. Mason White does it again. His second 3-run home run of the day. And Arizona now on top of Stanford, 12-1. 405 feet to left center field. And home run number 13 for White. Garen Caulfield being pinch hit for now in the DH spot. It's Cade Huff, a freshman from Scottsdale. Huff standing in, waving around the bat. Reimers fires a fastball low. Huff hitting .333. Has 3 at-bats so far this year. Has driven in a run. The 1-0, swing and a miss. Crossed up on the breaking ball, 1-1. Arizona appears to be on its way towards its 8th consecutive win. This one's high to right center. And going over, Lavin makes the grab, 1 away. Brendan Summerhill has reached base safely today. That makes it 25 consecutive games in which he has reached base safely. Also has 2 base hits this afternoon, a single in the 4th and a double in the 7th. First pitch from Reimers, and that one is well fouled off. Summerhill early on that swing. 0-1. Summerhill against Utah Tech on February 20th. How about this for a day? 6 for 6 with 5 driven in. The 0-1. That's high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Summerhill also had an inside-the-park home run against New Mexico State last year. Those are always fun. Don't see those too often. Fouled off 1-2. Flags relatively still in center field. Maybe just rustling just a little bit here. 1-2. Popped up. Might be playable as 2 Cardinal converge, and it falls in front of both of them as well as the Arizona dugout. With Nadi and Sam both trying to get there. They can't. One ball, 2 strikes. Reimers versus Summerhill. No action in the Stanford bullpen. The 1-2 on the way. Gets away 2-2. No one on the base paths, so no harm done. Stanford's next home game will be next week, 8 days from today, Tuesday, when Sacramento State comes down. And the Cardinal host Oregon that weekend. 2-2. The pitch. Couple of hops. Charging. Haskins gets the throw over to first in time for the out. Stanford had the shift on there with Haskins behind the second base bag. And that brings up Emilio Corona. Corona a single. A bases loaded walk. Reached on an error, and they pop out. So a pretty eventful day for that young man at the plate. First pitch from Reimers. Down the line, foul. Reimers has now worked 3 full innings. Next pitch will be number 66 for the freshman. The 0-1. That's high. Emilio Corona from San Luis Obispo also played hoops and football in high school. Was the San Luis Obispo County MVP in football his senior year. That's a number that gets past Reimers. Cobb charges, throws over the first in time for the out. But Mason White strikes again. A 3-run home run makes it 12-1 Arizona. Bottom of the 8th in just a moment. Couple of things to note as we begin the bottom of the 8th inning in Arizona with a 12-1 lead. Wildcats have a new pitcher. It's Bryce McKnight, a freshman from Phoenix, about to make his second appearance of the year. No wins or losses, an ERA of 27 flat. Has thrown 1 inning and has given up 3 runs, all earned. 1 walk and 1 strikeout with opposing batters hitting .600 against McKnight. That's thing number 1. Thing number 2, we have a run rule in effect with Arizona ahead 12-1, and perhaps some travel considerations being taken into account here. A run rule in effect, so Stanford needs to score twice if they want to extend this game in this half inning. Pinch hitter for Owen Cobb is Gabe Springer. Springer, sophomore from Boulder, Colorado. Takes that one, it's a ball, evens out the count 1-1. Springer, .214 batting average, 1 home run and 3 RBI. Well, there's the 1-1 pitch on the way. That one goes outside 2-1. Well, with the Wildcats here, nice to see some folks associated with Arizona. The Wildcats baseball sports information director, Brett Gleason, a good dude. As the 2-1 is fouled off. Count goes to 2-2. Also good to hang out for a bit before the game with the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries, who, when Joe Starkey retired after last year, that made Brian Jeffries the dean of Pac-12 announcers, as he has been the voice of the Cats since 1987. So 37 years now that Jeffries has been in that role. Really cool to hang out with them before the game today. The 2-2 pitch. Got him. Swing and a miss. 1 down. Pinch hitters continue. Here's Jake Sapien. Sapien pinch hitting for Court McDonald in the 2 spot. Sapien, a junior from Atwater, California. Batting .261 on the year, no home runs and 6 RBI. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. But good to hang out with Brian Jeffries. In an alternate universe, he's in Phoenix getting ready to call a college basketball game tonight, but not to be for Wildcats basketball. Sapien is down in the count 0-2. And Brian's seen a lot with the Wildcats. Called their national championship in '97 with men's hoops. He's been around baseball for a long time, football as well. Good to see him. Upstairs and outside, ball one. And this being my first and, as it turns out, my only year in the Pac-12 announcing fraternity, it's been an honor to hang out. Guys, I've heard a lot of their work over the years. But to be among them, it's a true honor, especially when you look at around the conference. Some fantastic announcers. My man Matt Chasnow up at Washington State. A 1-2. High fly ball, but that's well foul. Justin Allegri at Cal, my fellow rookie there. Mike Parker at Oregon State. Bill Riley at Utah. Mark Johnson at Colorado and I didn't get a chance to hang out a whole lot. I missed the Stanford-Colorado football game last fall. I had a previous engagement. Anything else? Anything happened in that game, by the way? Foul off again, 1-2. And for football, of course, USC has Pete Arbogast. Josh Lewin of UCLA. Jerry Allen, the longtime voice of the Oregon Ducks. He's been around since the late 80s. And us relative newbies. My man Tony Castricone up at Washington. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him. Swing and a miss. Stanford down to its final out. Another pinch hitter coming up. It's Brett Blair, junior from Gainesville, Florida. Blair batting .250. No home runs or RBI. Again, a reminder, we're in a run rule situation as Stanford needs to score twice to extend this game. First pitch to Blair is fouled off. So it means a lot to me to be associated with those great announcers, especially the ones who have been around this conference for a long, long time. And I'm sure their feelings on everything are maybe even deeper than mine might be. Low and outside, 1-1. That said, looking forward to meeting the ACC guys. Wes Durham, the voice basically of the ACC, does a lot of ACC network stuff. A 1-1 to Blair. A loud hit that's clapped down the third base line and into the corner for a base hit. And Blair is in with a stand-up double. Well, Stanford has done terrific things with their pinch hitters for much of the season. Entering the Washington State series, Stanford pinch hitters were hitting .321 with non-base percentage of .462. So Brett Blair coming through with the double, extending the game for Jimmy Natai. Natai is 0 for 3. Natai pounds the bat, the plate with his bat. Now he's ready to roll. And this one's hit to left field. It'll stay in the park. Adams ranges over to his left, makes the grab, and that is your ball game. The Arizona Wildcats spot Stanford a run and then score the final 12 of this one en route to their 8th straight win. Final score here today, Arizona 12, Stanford 1. The big blows struck by Mason White. 2 3-run home runs, 1 in the 3rd inning to put Arizona ahead, as it turned out for good, and the 2nd in the 8th inning to give Arizona a run rule win. 12-1 the final score here, as Stanford falls to 13-17 on the season. Arizona now 18-13 on the year. Again, this game does not count in the conference standings. Big days for Mason White for Arizona. Nice day for Xavier Esker, David's son, as he walked in the 4th and later got an RBI single in the 7th. But Stanford struggling in the pitching department, especially in the mid-portion of the game, in which Arizona scored 4 runs in the 5th inning and didn't record a hit at all in that frame. They didn't need to. Couple hit batters, couple of walks, an error, And it all added up to a big inning for the Wildcats there as they took an 8-1 lead after 5 en route to a 12-1 win here today. So a tough day once again for Stanford in some respects, but they'll be back at it this upcoming weekend up in Corvallis. Stanford at Oregon State before coming home next week to face Sacramento State in the midweek affair next Tuesday, and then the Cardinal hosting the Ducks next weekend. Ryan Speciak, the Stanford starter, gets the loss. He falls to 0-1 on the year. Brandon Zastro gets the win for Arizona. He is now 1-1 on the season. Time of today's game, 2 hours and 37 minutes with an attendance just over 1,000. So Arizona gets the win here today as they record the 12-1 result over the Stanford Cardinal. That'll wrap it up for us here on Stanford Livestream. Again, special thanks to our fantastic crew. On behalf of them, I'm Troy Clarity. Thanks for joining us here on this Monday afternoon at Sunken Diamond. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go Stanford.